Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Healing Frequencies to Alleviate Pain. Dr. LaChelle Wieme and I'm Dr. Darlene Lobel. We are here to impart some wisdom that we have learned, a wonderful tool, wonderful strategy that really serves as a very powerful complement to help alleviate pain. Okay, so
Yes.
we are gonna, I'll give you a little bit of background about myself. I'll let Dr. LaChelle give you a little background about her, and then we'll dive right into the topic. So I am a neurosurgeon. I've been in practice since 2006. Gosh, that time is flying. And so my area of expertise actually is called functional neurosurgery. So I put deep brain stimulators in the brain to control tremor. I put spinal cord stimulators in the back to control pain, and it's all frequency based. All right. So it's very exciting for me to have found a strategy that does not require me to put a hole in your head or a cut on your back. So don't worry, no tools here today. So just a little bit about me. Dr. LaChelle, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, absolutely. I'm so honored and grateful to be here and partnering with you, Dr. Darlene. We met because we're both sisters in Christ who really want to help other people to live out their best life. And I have a background in anesthesia. So I started my career in medicine as a nurse, and then I got my master's and my doctorate degree in anesthesia. I've been practicing since 2008. And so time goes by really fast. But in 2016, I made an addition to my passions, and I became a business strategist and a mindset coach. And so I've been fascinated by all of the things that have to do with peak performance and allowing ourselves to live out our best life, to think in our best ways. And of course, because I take away pain for surgery, I am fascinated by this whole process, right? That you and I are going to be talking about when it comes to pain relieving with things that don't require needles and medicine, that we get a chance to complement what we're used to with the powers that we can heal ourselves through God's frequencies. So yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I'm always excited to partner with you in anything. I think we work great together. And so let's go ahead and get started, folks. So what are frequencies anyway? Well, first of all, everything is made up of a frequency. Okay, like your body, guess what? You have a electric biofield that you carry within you and around you. Everything starts and ends with energy. I will say it like that. And I don't think this is talked about enough in what I call traditional medicine. And Dr. LaChelle, I know, I think you can probably corroborate
Yes.
that as well. We don't get in medical school, any real information about how energy shift and energy transfer can lead to sickness or disease processes. But the truth is, it does, right? Your pain pathways, interestingly, so even though we have these, neural receptors in all parts of
Yeah.
our body, pain's processed where? It's processed in the brain, right? It is processed in the brain. And so what we find is that's why I put in deep brain stimulators. That's why some of the spinal cord stimulators that I put in, they're literally designed to block the impulses going back to the brain. Okay.
Yes.
And they have
Yes.
to be specifically placed. And I know you did a lot of nerve blocks that work the same way,
Mhm.
right? You may do the nerve block.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And they do. They interrupt that pain pathway from the brain and basically confuse it from being able to be interpreted by the brain as pain. And that goes from everything from a nerve block for surgery, but also people who get, let's say, epidural injections for pain or sciatica or your knee or your hip. It's really fascinating because all of it has to do with the way our brain interprets pain, for sure.
Absolutely. And this is also a principle for acupuncture or acupressure for those of you that have tried that as well, which I know many people who have been dealing with chronic pain. Listen, I've certainly dealt with pain in my life. I know a lot of people are dealing with that based on the number of patients that I have
Yeah.
come to see
Yeah.
me, right? And so a lot of us, we've tried a lot of things, right? You've tried medication, you've tried supplementation, you've tried acupuncture, you've tried massage, you've done, the heat therapy, cold therapy, all I mean, goodness gracious, I could go on and on. And, quite frankly, from what I see with my patients and the clients I work with, it's frustrating, right? And it becomes cyclical, right? Because you've got this pain that you're dealing with, and then you're trying something, and it either works for a short term or it doesn't work for a long term, or maybe it doesn't even work at all. You spent money on this thing, and it gets frustrating, and you
Absolutely.
can get into a cycle where you start to think something that's not true.
Yeah.
You
Right.
can
Absolutely.
go ahead.
Absolutely. And I think that, myself have personally struggled with chronic pain, both in my foot. I had a nerve injury in my foot years ago, and then in my lower back. And it's interesting because oftentimes when you deal with chronic pain, you're so afraid that something is going to aggravate it, or you don't know what caused it in the first place. So you find yourself not fully living life. And that was at least me. I lived in fear versus lived in love. And I want all of you guys to experience some hope, because I remember sitting in a surgeon's office and he's like, "LaChelle, I don't think surgery is an option." And I just started crying because I lost the hope in something that could help. And so I really want all of you guys to just hopefully experience something that could give you a little bit of hope again tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. That I think what you said is so important. We've got to hold on to hope. And, one of the
Mhm.
messages that we want to get across to you, both as believers and just how we understand the human body, is that
Yep.
you are designed with healing pathways in
Yes.
your body and in your mind. Okay. You're designed that way. So you have access to that. Okay. Sometimes it's just finding that key to unlock those
Yes.
pathways, and we are here to help you with a strategy to do that.
Absolutely. And I mean, this might be controversial, but I'm just going to say it, Dr. Darlene, that I
Let's
think
do it.
sometimes in medical schools, in nursing schools and anesthesia school for me, we don't learn about the ways that our bodies can heal itself. We don't learn about the ways that our mind can heal itself, because let's just be real. If we could all heal ourselves, who's making money, right? And so I want to really just acknowledge this, you guys, that this is our chance to start taking some healing back to ourselves. This is a chance for us to take kind of big pharma, like out of the position of power, and allow for us as human beings to recognize the beautiful healing that God has inside of us, and something that's possible. But so many people in medicine, myself included, were not taught this because it's not part of the curriculum and it's not part of the overall agenda. And I think that it's good for you and I to be doing things like this so that we're opening up the eyes of people of what's possible, because it's not always made aware to people. So
Yes, I would 100% believe, I agree with that. And I do believe we could talk about that for a very long time.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm really glad you said that. And I think it's important that you're open to
Mhm.
something that I would call non-traditional medicine, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
I think, and I'd love to hear what you have to say about this, Dr. LaChelle. I think some of the strategies we're talking about will become
Yeah.
mainstream medicine before too long, actually,
A
because
100%.
we just
Yes. Yes.
need some data, some better data. There's some data,
Yeah.
but some better data. But I honestly think that a decade from now, this is not going to sound controversial to a lot of people.
One
So, yeah.
1,000%. And it's so cool. Like I geek out in all things from Nikolai Tesla and Albert Einstein and all of the cool people that, were pioneers in energy frequency medicine. And I think back even, 10 years ago, and how much I remember thinking, gosh, gas has gotten so expensive. And the oil companies were making a lot of money, right? But now we're seeing this huge surgence of electric vehicles, so it is going to shift. People are going to be like ready for something different, and I think that it is going to start to make its way into research more. It's going to make its way into practice more, and I'm really excited that we get to be in the forefront of this.
Yes, we
Right, we get to be
do.
pioneers.
I
Yeah.
know, it's great. So if you want to be on the forefront and get some access to some healing in the meantime, let's
Yeah.
let's get started. So Dr. LaChelle,
Absolutely.
can you talk a little bit about how the particular program that we use,
Yeah.
how even that works, and share that with people?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. So I will try my hardest to like take my quantum physics 101 down to you guys. And if any of you are, really, really schooled and educated in physics and quantum physics specifically, I just wanted you to know that I'm going to speak to people who are not. So here we go. But really, what we're doing is we're recognizing that we're using quantum physics versus Newtonian physics or regular physics that we learned about in science class. Okay. What does that mean? It means that when I think about normal physics, Newtonian physics, it's the apple that falls from the tree and hit Isaac Newton on the head, and things that have big mass have a predictable pattern in which they perform. Okay. What scientists have figured out, like Nikola Tesla and Albert Einstein, decades ago, is that when they broke everything down into the very smallest building block of life, of matter, the atom, they found that the atoms did not behave in the predictable manner that they did when they congregated into larger masses. And that's basically what quantum physics is. It's the study of the nucleus and the electrons rotating inside of this atom, and it's the passage of the movement and the energy and how these little atoms interact with one another. That is the study of quantum physics. Okay. So what does that mean, and how does this interpret here? So the main kind of cool thing, they call it the spookiness of quantum physics, is that atoms actually change the way that they behave based on observation. It's so weird. So when the scientist would observe something, it would change the way in which the atoms would move. What that means is we're using our technology like the ultimate observer. We're taking our intention, we're taking our intellect in our software, and we're basically observing or directing our energy field towards what we want it to be. Okay. It also means that I'm going to equate this to a couple of different very basic things as well. You guys all, I'm sure, use cell phone, right? Have you ever thought about this, Dr. Darlene? Like, how the heck am I able to like FaceTime my mom when she's like hours away from me, right? It's the ability of the electromagnetic waves to be traveling through the air, right? Same with, back in the 90s. I won't age myself too much, but Casey Kasem would come on with his top 40 and I would be listening on my boombox in my bedroom, right? He was in LA, I was in Minnesota. It traveled to me through the air, through radio waves, right? So that's essentially what we're doing is we're taking our device, whether it be logged in on my phone, whether it be logged in on my computer, and I'm using that as if that's the station that Casey Kasem's sitting in LA. Okay. And that I, as the client, am like the 92.5 in the tiny little radio station in rural Minnesota. So I'm dialing it in to this particular person's radio station. And we're basically just taking that energy wave and we're transferring it from the device to the person as if we're dialing them in into a radio station. Okay. There's lots of things that I could go into this, but that's really the basics of it. I will say that one of the things that I thought is really cool when I, dive into how this all works is that they've been using this technology way back decades ago in space. Actually, Russian cosmonauts would use this technology to be able to get information to and from their Russian cosmonauts. And so I found that that was so fascinating. So decades and generations now of studying energy, they've been able to catalog how fast or how slow different things are vibrating. So they can predict how fast those electrons are moving. If things move really, really fast, the frequency is high, the hertz is high. If they move slower, the frequency is lower, right? And so they've been able to catalog, this is so cool, within the Solex software, 125,000 blueprint frequencies. So they know that the human pancreas vibrates at this frequency, and the human healthy red blood cell at homeostasis is this frequency. And so they can tell us just based on tuning into our radio station if our cells in our body, the cells in our mind and our brain are vibrating too fast or too slow compared to how they should be. And because we're tuning into this whole radio station, what we are doing is we're dialing in what we want, and then we're transferring that to essentially me as my little radio station in the rural Minnesota. Is that good enough?
Yeah, I think that's amazing. I think that made a very complex topic very simple for everyone to understand. And feel free to put some questions in. We will have a little time at Q&A at the end here as well. But yeah, essentially, we're just using a program, very simple, that works in a similar fashion to a telephone, right?
Mhm.
To analyze those frequencies of, let's say you have chronic pain in your shoulders, right? Analyze the frequencies of the bones, the muscles, the ligaments, right? Even the spine, right? Which can cause
Yes.
problems with pain in that area, right? And seeing how does that compare to that ideal frequency of the
Yes.
muscle, what its original design is. Because let me tell you
Yes.
what, folks, the original design you were created with is imperfection, right? It is perfect. And so
Mhm.
we need to identify, first of all, where it is out of balance at this time. And then one of the best things about this program, I mean, Dr. LaChelle told you observation changes things. So just looking at something changes it. So actually, when you
Yeah.
just study something, it begins
Yeah.
an effect of changing it. But we can
Yeah.
actually send those frequencies to help bring things
Mhm.
back into harmony, right? And this is just
Yes.
so powerful how this works.
Yes.
And it really
Yes.
puts your healing back in your hands
Yes.
and back in your
Yes.
control.
Yes.
So,
And what I love about this so much too is that not only are those 125,000 blueprint frequencies cataloging the human body and the parts, different parts of the human body, but they've also been able to catalog, what the frequency of this particular essential oil is, or this
mhm.
particular antibiotic, or this particular, healing and peace and, I don't know, like not combating anxiety, for example. Like they know exactly the frequency of that. And then we get to share it. Can I tell them a little bit about how I describe that?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to describe it like this, okay? Again, I'm a very visual person. So I want you to imagine that I have a tuning fork in my hand, okay? And if I bang this tuning fork on the table, it's going to start to kind of vibrate and sing a little bit. It's going to make a squealing sound. If I have another tuning fork in my hand in this side and I just bang the one on my right hand, this one in my left is going to start doing the exact same thing. The frequency is going to be the same because of resonance frequency. It's transferring from one area to the other. That's how this is working. So it's reading your body, it's reading your body's energy, and then it's giving your energy back what we dial it in. It's so freaking cool.
Yes, it is absolutely amazing. So I want to share just a couple of testimonies, and I think
Yeah,
you have
let's
a
do it.
testimony as well to share. And then we're going to
Uh-huh.
get into, we're going to show you a little bit. We're going to pop the top and show you what this does and let you experience it too.
Yeah,
So I
perfect.
have a lady that I have worked with and know through one of my programs, and she was dealing with chronic pain for a very long time, decades of chronic pain, low back pain, sciatica, upper back pain. And I introduced her to this technology, and she used it, I believe, to start with for 5 days. Okay. 5 days, she used a program similar to what I am going to share with you guys, what we're going to share with you guys tonight and let you experience. Okay. It's customized for her, but very similar to that. And she said that after a week, she did not need any prescription medication, no more muscle relaxants, no more anti-inflammatories. She what had free range mobility, was able to move side to side, pain free, reach up, reach down, sideways with no restrictions on her spine, no muscle spasms, and did not feel that stiffness in her back anymore. Folks, less than a week, and she experienced this. Now, she's been using this program for 4 months, okay? For 4 months now, because we're going to talk about this a little bit. Sometimes we can get, a healing, right? And feel some healing, and then things can shift back, okay? So it's very important to keep up with some things. And
Mhm.
I'm going to say this, if there's a particular trigger that causes pain and you continue to trigger yourself, well, we could talk about that for a while, but you've got to
Yeah.
remove the source of it, right? So you've got to remove the source. But she's been using this for 4 months. She, again, no meds, no painkillers, complete free, back range mobility. She says she is healed. She feels like she has a new spine, and she calls it a miracle. She had been through chiropractic, massage, physiotherapy, and all of this, and the frequency healing is what made the difference for her. I mean, come on. So quick relief, sustained relief. This is what we want, right? And I'll
I
tell
love
you,
that.
I use this. So sometimes my surgeries, I got to wear heavy lead to protect myself from using X-ray in the operating room, right? There's actually even frequencies to help with that. But at any rate, I wear
Yep.
this heavy lead and then I'm bent over, doing this surgery sometimes for 4 hours, right? So, man, when I take that off, guess what? This in here, not feeling so good, right? And unfortunately, that's a trigger that I've chosen to continue in this profession for now. So it's going to continue to get aggravated, right? So, but I use this program to, one, clear the negative energy that has accumulated, sometimes that even of itself, without delivering even what we're calling
Yeah.
balance frequencies, that
Yep.
clears it up. I mean, in minutes, folks, I'm telling you what,
Yep.
it is powerful. I feel free. I don't feel restricted. So that's a testimony from someone I work with, and an own personal testimony. And then I think Dr. LaChelle, you had a testimony you wanted to share from someone as well, or
Yeah. Yeah. Do
personally.
you want me to go? Yeah. Do you want me to go, or do you want to tell your other one? Or
No,
that was it.
yeah,
That
that
was
was,
you. That was
yeah,
you.
you
Gotcha.
go, you
Gotcha.
go
Just want to
ahead.
make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, one of the things that I think is so fascinating is that this one is just happened to just happen. So I was talking to a gal who was considering working with me as a coaching client, and she said, I really didn't want to miss our call, and so I really am not feeling well, but I didn't want to miss this call. I'm like, well, tell me a little bit about that. Like, this is not why we're meeting, but tell me a little bit about that. And she had excruciating pain in her jaw, in her ear, and it was to a point where she was like 10 out of 10 pain, and she felt like she needed to go to the ED. She needed to go to the emergency room. But unfortunately, she was in between jobs and she didn't have any health insurance. So she was just really anxious about it. But she's like, LaChelle, I'm feeling absolutely terrible. I can't concentrate. I can't sleep. And I'm like, I have this technology that I'd be more than happy to give you an opportunity to test if that would be something that could help you. And she says, I'm game. Within 20 minutes, her pain went completely away. She never had to go to the doctor. And the next day, she actually messaged me. She's like, this is just wild. Like, I thought that this was just, I don't know, a coincidence, but she's like, it hasn't come back. And she could actually feel, as we were doing her treatment, she could feel the pain and the energy moving out of and into different parts of her body until it dissipated. So fascinating. And I was just like, okay, cool. Like, who knows when I get a chance to just show up and let God show off, right?
So good. I love that. I love that. And
Yeah.
yeah, I've found that a lot of times that it can be very quick what you experience. And sometimes too, and this is very true with pain, there are emotional ties
Mhm.
to that pain as well. The
Yes.
brain actually, so it stores emotions with memories even, and those can be pain triggers as well. So
Yep.
what you'll see, because we're gonna do a healing experience now for you, so get ready for that. We're gonna move to that in just a moment. You're gonna see that some of the frequencies that we're going to be sending you are things like love, forgiveness, and gratitude, right? Because let me tell you what, you got to release those emotions that are tied in with those pain triggers in order to do this. So, just as a preface, know that if you haven't experienced this before, you might feel an emotional release. Okay. It's very common. Sometimes I turn on these frequencies for folks and they just start crying, and that's good though, because that's healing. Those tears, they really are healing. So just know that that's not unexpected if that happens. So let me go
Yeah.
ahead I'm going to share my screen and show you what we're going to be doing, and then we'll get started. But first, if you will write down your pain score right now. So whatever on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being that worst pain you've ever felt in your entire life, and 1 is virtually pain-free. Okay, so a pain scale score right now of whatever that is, write that down. And then we're going to do this little experience here. And then we're going to see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get that up for you. Just a moment. Be sure our sound is on. And here we are. Okay, so can everyone see this screen here? Make sure that that is up. So this is called the AO scan technology. It's by a company called Solex that we are going to be sharing with you. And this is one aspect of the program. Okay, there's many areas of the program that are very exciting, but one aspect that I wanted to share with you, this is very similar to what the lady that I ran healing frequencies on. I pulled a lot of those frequencies out. And then one thing that's very cool here is you can actually send frequencies to not just yourself or someone else, but you can send frequencies to a group. You can send frequencies to an object. Okay, so I actually made
A pet. A
I
pet.
made a little group based
Yeah.
on who is going to be here tonight and based on whoever watches this. So guess what? So you're getting targeted with these healing frequencies. And, you know, you can see, so there's a perfect frequency to clear any negative energy, right? Breathe free. It's one of my favorite because it's one that helps to activate your calming nervous system, your parasympathetic nervous system, so important in chronic pain. We always need peace. I put abundance in here because pain is a very limiting um, limiting condition, really. It kind of puts you in a box. It puts your brain in a box if you even look at what it does to the brain, right? So I like to expand and deliver abundance to that energy, right? A lot of times chronic pain can be draining, so we deliver that. Integrity, this one is really important to me. I put this in a lot of playlists because it is you being true to yourself and how you are created. So we're all a little bit different. So even though everyone's getting these ideal frequencies that are very similar, it's going to be very customized for you. And then again, love, forgiveness, and gratitude. I talked to you about that. There's some specific frequencies for pain-free, pain control, stress and tension, anxiety. This is one of the homeopathic agents, so that I actually was able to do a scan on the group, okay? And this is what was recommended. And then we usually finish up with a shield to shield and protect everything. So now I've named this playlist Freedom, okay? And I'm very particular with my playlist names. I always approach them from a positive perspective. So you will never see me have a playlist for anxiety, right? It is a playlist for peace, right? Or a playlist for calm. And so I thought about, well, what does it look like when you don't have pain? You are free. You're free. So that's what I called it. So we are gonna play this. I think what I'm going to do, I'm gonna do this 2 ways. So one, I'm going to start by playing them individually just so you can kind of hear them, so you can kind of hear what this is. You don't actually have to listen to these, but I do want you to hear what the tones look like. And then I'm going to turn the volume way down and I'm going to broadcast them all at the same time. The longest one is 2 minutes, so we'll be done after a couple of minutes. It will play and then we will have you assess your pain again. All right. So we'll go ahead and get started with individuals so you can hear what this sounds like. All right, let me ask you. I want to hear from folks in the chat. That was just energy clearing. Okay, this is what I do a lot of the times. It's just energy clearing. I want to know who felt something shift in your body. I want to hear that in the chat because heavens knows that I did. I literally felt like something fall off, right? I feel lighter than I did, right? So sometimes that, folks, is enough. But let me hear from you in the chat. Oh my gosh, I can see the chat going nuts right now. I gotta let me just stop here and see. Yeah, me. I can feel it already. Amazing. Yes, it did. I feel lighter. Yes, yes. Listen to this, folks. Okay, just that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, and this is one you definitely don't want to listen to out loud because it's gonna send all these frequencies all at one time. So I'm going to turn the volume down for this one, okay? But we're going to deliver this whole playlist to you over the next couple of minutes, okay? So let me get the volume way down so it's not hard to hear.
Now, while Dr. Darlene is doing that, I'm just going to mention a couple of things. So she's broadcasting. So she is literally like Casey Kasem in LA, and she's putting the mix of music that's going to go out onto the radio station. And we all are the individual little radio stations around the country picking up that station. That's how this is working when she's broadcasting. Okay. Sometimes our brain is more readily able to accept things when we ingest or when we take something in because we've been programmed as a society to take pills. And so I actually can imprint, if you look here, there's a little 20-second imprint. I can imprint these frequencies into a glass of water, imprint them into a sugar pellet and ingest it like it was like I was taking a Tylenol. And sometimes that allows for our subconscious to say, okay, yeah, I'm taking a treatment. But either both of them are as effective. It's so fascinating just how beautiful and intentional energy can be.
Okay. So that was most of that playlist. We didn't all the way get through pain control, but I want to hear from you and know too that this is something that you will experience effects from this ongoing over the next several minutes and sometimes even several hours. So the way energy shifts work, I've found a lot of times is sometimes it's instant, like many of us felt with that energy clear. Also, don't be discouraged if you're like, well, I'm maybe still feeling some pain. Just see how you feel over the next few minutes and few hours, because once we get in there and this energy shifts, sometimes the energy shift is always the fastest thing that happens. Okay, so the energy shifts quickly and then the symptoms change after that, right? Or the physical feeling changes after that. It's one of the reasons why I love this technology so much. So I would love to hear from you all. Write down your new pain level. I'm going to write mine down. Mine's now down to a 1. I didn't have a lot of pain when I started, but I had something. And so now it's down to a 1. But I want to hear from you. How much did it improve? So how much did it improve? So share with us in the chat how much that improved.
And while you're doing that, I also want to just point out too that drinking enough water, being well hydrated, allows for energy to shift and move in the most efficient and effective way. So if you're dehydrated, that might impact your experience today. So I would say go ahead and continue to drink water and allow for that shift to continue to take place.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, very
That's
true.
amazing.
Yeah, I think that's true. And also, it is important to provide yourself the nutritional building blocks for that energy to be able to shift as well. So I'm just going to read some of these numbers here because I think this is just so amazing. I mean, we played 1 minute worth of healing frequencies for you folks, okay? And so one person went from a 3, they're sitting in what they call their trigger chair. Pain is now a 0. Someone else dropped 2 points. Another person dropped from a 6 to a 4. Another person dropped from a 5 to a 3. Another person dropped from a 9 to a 7. Carol, we will let you know how to get this program. Hold on. We will show you that, no problem. JJ dropped from a 7 to a 5.5. Oh my goodness. Yes. So this person says, I'm literally freaking out. I woke up this morning not able to lift my arm, and right now I am lifting it with just a little pain. Praise God for that. That is so amazing. So good. I love this. Listen, folks, this is so powerful. And this is broadcast. This is a general frequency broadcast to a group. Can you imagine if we customize this for you, and instead of sending it to the group, because like I can send this to myself, right? And this program knows me because it scanned me before and it knows me. Like if you had a profile and we sent this to you, I mean, you guys got at least 2 points pain relief, okay? Just from that. Imagine what the impact would be if this was customized just for you. And, these playlists are very easy to make, and let me see if I can pull it up so I can show you. Um, you can also just pick a single frequency if you want, right? Like if you just want to come in and put in pain-free healing and stamina, this is literally push button technology, right? Click, and you can imprint an object, or you can send it to yourself, or you can send it to somebody halfway across the world, right? I do this all the time for my clients, right? Just send it to them halfway across the world. This program is so smart that we can actually scan and see what you need. If you don't even know what you need in the moment, you can hit a scan button. There's so much to it. I don't want to get too much in the weeds, but I want you to know that there's a lot of options here. So Dr. LaChelle, is there anything else with the program that you'd like to share on this particular call? Or I think it's a good place to,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I think that you've done such a beautiful job, and I'm glad that you were able to demonstrate. And I'm glad, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like I literally felt shivers, especially during the clearing section. It was just amazing. And like somebody had asked earlier about muscle testing and emotion code, body code.
Mhm.
I'll often do that. I'll muscle test for a specific playlist for a client so that I'm giving them exactly what they need. And so imagine, like you said, it being customized. And because I own my own system, I get to customize my stuff like every day, which is so cool. So
Yeah, absolutely. Love it, love it. Yeah, and people are still commenting. I feel the tension in my shoulders leave, tightness in ankles and feet or less. So good. And yeah, it's easy to so simply imprinting it, like if you have a ring, for example, so pure gold or silver or platinum is really the best. So there's different theories about that. But you can run this program from your phone. I showed you from my computer here, but you can run it from your phone. Any device that gets an internet connection, you can access your subscription. So you don't need bulky equipment or anything like that, which is great. But you would, like, if I wanted to imprint my ring, I would take it off, lay it on my phone with the program pulled up, erase whatever frequencies are in there, and then imprint these frequencies from the playlist, and then put my little ring back on. And I'll tell you what, and they also, so this is a jade bracelet. I just got one of these too, and it has imprintable beads. So I imprinted some inner peace in here because we've got some stuff going on in my state right
yeah,
now.
I
I need
have
some inner
I
peace.
have immunity, like I have immunity things in my ring that I wear just to
Yeah.
block all the crap that's going around.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
yeah.
So, yeah, you can have that in an object, you can imprint into your own body as well, or you can just broadcast the frequencies as well. So, has many, many more options, but I think for pain, which is why we're here tonight to talk about that, that is really a wonderful strategy, is to use that Cephi playlist or any of those individual frequencies. I think will be helpful
Yep.
for you. And so, in order to get access to your own subscription, it is a month-to-month subscription. There is absolutely no requirement to have 6 months or 12 months or anything like that. You can literally try this out for yourself for a month. The monthly subscription, it's $149 a month. And then, again, you can choose to continue it, which I would say 98% of people do, right? Because they get a hold of it
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
absolutely love it. But I would
Yeah.
encourage you to reach out to the person that invited you to this today and talk to them about how to get signed up with your own subscription, and so that you will know. I personally and Dr. LaChelle are, we love to teach, among many, many other things. So we have a wealth of support. Like, this is not a situation where you'll sign up for a subscription and then have to go figure anything out. No, we have resources on resources on resources. We do coaching to help you with it as well. So really, we help you get started, even if you know nothing about how this works. Okay.
Absolutely. And I want to just mention really quickly, because we are so fortunate to work with an amazing CEO and founder of this company who has a mission to get this in a million households, because he believes in the power of healing ourselves. And so, because of that mission, he has created a program that allows for us to have, basically sharing the results that you get, and then you can get basically an affiliate reward. Now
Mhm.
get this, you guys, if you share it and 3 people decide to sign up, yours is completely covered. That's how generous he is. And so if you can think of 3 people in your life that have pain that would maybe want to learn that, about this, that completely cover your subscription costs. And we would be more than happy to give you the replay of this to share that with those people, just to help you out. We want to just continue to spread amazing resources and healing. So just want to know that if this is something that is really putting it on your heart, that we will help you find a way to make it happen. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And there was a question in the chat that I think is good to talk about. Can multiple people in the same house use the same subscription? Absolutely, yes, you can. So I have profiles for my children, I have profiles for my pets.
yep.
So yes, you can
My bank
definitely.
account.
Yeah, I got them from my bank account too. Yeah, why not? Put it all in there for the house, for all kinds of things. So,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, they are very generous, and it really is. We just got back from the annual conference in person that was out in Utah, and I will tell you what, the heart of the individuals that both developed this technology and that run it now is so beautiful. We've both worked with a lot of people over the years, both in medical field and, in coaching world and all these other things, right?
Yeah.
The heart of these folks is it's gold. Okay, it is really gold, and that's really important to me as well. I personally think that this blends amazingly well with faith, with Christian faith as well. I mean, obviously you can use this technology no matter what your faith base, but I get some questions sometimes about that, and there's a lot of scriptures to support using uh, our resources that God puts in our hand as well. So I just wanted to end with what I had to say on that note as well. But Dr. LaChelle, is there anything else on your heart you'd
I
like
just
to
want to
share?
thank you guys for showing up. I know that we just honor and really want to just thank you for spending some time with us. We respect your time and we hope that you got something out of this. I would love to know in the chat like what your favorite part was. What was your biggest aha? It's always fun for us to know, what to continue to emphasize. But we just want to thank you. Please reach out if you have any questions. If you have been invited here by somebody specifically, reach out to them first and they can always get a hold of us as well. So we just want to make sure that you guys are all supported. And yeah, I'm so glad that we got to do this.
Yes, it's wonderful. Thank you. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording, and then we'll take some questions as well. So